Alright, what's going on, guys? This is Intensify here. So today's video is a story time that I've always wanted to talk about. So the story started off when I was a freshman in college. I basically finished my finals and having like the stress of finishing finals out of the way. So this means that I have this no more stress of having to deal with college. It means I'm pretty much finished for the rest of the semester for now. So after I finished the semester, my parents wanted me to go to a Buddhist temple, which isn't from my state, but rather out of state, which I'm not going to mention where at. So being that they're religious, they always wanted me to pick up after them, being religious. But for me, I wouldn't say I'm the most religious person out of the family. But considering that they really want me to go, I decided fine that I would go. And as I got there, I would stay in the room that they'll let me stay in. And what I'll usually do is just either watch anime, YouTube, or either manga. Just nothing really that interesting. So I think I either stay there for a week or just about 3 days. Nothing that particularly interesting about staying there. But it's on that one day while I was still at the temple that I got a snap notification that someone added me as a friend. Being that I always get people adding me, I just added that person. Like, I didn't really care about who it is because I know like as soon as I add them, they wouldn't even talk to me. So I usually ignore the person. So it was later that I get a notification from the guy, which pretty much surprised me, being that I never really get like snap or a message from these people. So I opened it up and it's just started as normal, like greeting a person. I don't really know what his name was, but I thought he was pretty normal and he was a normal person to talk to. But by the time like he mentioned about my friend, someone that I know during middle school, he said that he had like the hugest crush on that person. So for the sake of the story, I'm not gonna use her real name, but I'm gonna use a real name. Let's say Abby. So he had the hugest crush on Abby. Which like, okay, I understand. You have a love interest in that person. Like nothing to be weirded out by. And at that point I thought that he was generally normal. Not like one of those cam girls or like e-girls that I always keep getting snap requests on, which would be another story. But I generally thought he was normal. But as time goes by, he started to become a lot more weird. He keeps telling me how obsessed he was. He wanted to know wanted to know about her Facebook, so I showed him it. And when I showed him it, that was when he started to become weird. And it was during that time I got confused, like, who is Abby? And when he says her phone name, that was when I remember who she was. So I'm like, oh, so Abby has someone that admires her a lot. Getting into the Facebook, when I showed him the Facebook of Abby, that that was basically the sign that made me knew that he's gonna be weird. So it was at that point when he told me how much he loves and how much he wants to be for her during that time. And it was during that time I learned that he was 17, and both me and Abby were like 19. So when I first heard about it, I thought he was someone that really likes her and not like the weird person, like anyone that's like weird. So like he loves her so much that he wants to have his way with her. So basically, for me showing the Facebook, that was when I knew it was somewhat what I regret trying to show him. Because as soon as I showed him this, he starts to tell me how he wants to pound her, how he wants to shove his banana in her mouth, and he wants to choke her with his banana as he wants to suck the helium from his balloon as he smacks her behind. And so for most people, you know what I mean by the phrase I said, but I'm not gonna try to list out bad that he sent me the message. But as I go on, he said he want to smack her behind and make her speak the different languages, or otherwise moaning, as he spanks her butt and does other things. He said how hot she is and how he does not want this relation to be penetrating. Otherwise, he just wants to do that. He continues repeating himself on how he wants to go under her shirt and get a hold of the balloons, as he wants to start moaning into her ears as he squeezed her butt. Just for me seeing all that snap, I knew I had to save it because I have not seen anyone that sent me a snap like that other than those fake girls that I added on Facebook, even though I rarely use it. But back to the story, the dude sent me all of that of all the people to talk about it. I was thinking this dude was probably in this hard desert tossed there. No phone battery actually ran out, and he basically had to live out there. Dude was so thirsty that I can't even imagine how thirsty he actually is. But the worst has to come later when he shows how obsessed he was when he starts showing me nudes. But like I was expecting like he cares for it and like he'll just show like just normal pictures about how much he cares. But that's not who he is. So what he does, he proceeds to send me nudes of her, nude images, and he showed videos of her naked as well. I'm like, oh dude, I thought he loved her, but if he decides to do that, I'm like, dude, how you can be in a relationship if you're gonna send nudes to people you don't know? Like I just told him I'm gonna have to flush my eyes because I'm a Buddhist child. Because like, in all honesty, it just like dropped my guard from seeing it. I'm not gonna say I enjoy it, hate it, but like it just caught me off guard. Like I didn't anticipate for him to send nudes. Like just send me normal pic. Like it was during that time it made me had to snap her and I said, "You're weird for thinking that way." And I thought that like she was involved in trying to get my reaction, and she said thanks. So I thought nothing I would say other than him obsessing Abby so much, and like talk about the things like taken it to another level in his fantasy. So I waited until a day later to fill in like what happened about this dude sending nudes of her to me, and she told me that she had no clue that Metapod over here has been because Metapod here has been adding her friends, telling them the same things that she didn't know about. I tried to summarize what he says about how much he fantasized with her and how it come to be some regret for her. Now, I don't want to straight up say that he sent nudes, so I want to go slow and not try to scare her in a way that this dude has just sent me nudes of her. So I told her if like how this has been happening, and she told me that he's been friending her friends and probably sending the exact same messages as me. So she thanks me for telling me this, and I told the guy that what he's been doing is wrong, and I notified her about this. It was when Magpie decided to become sympathetic for what he did, and I told him that was the worst thing that you could do if you said you love her, as I basically exposed him for doing this. He then started asking me for advice on like how to better improve this. So like the first thing I told him like he shouldn't have sent nudes to me. Like tried to send nudes to her friends. So I basically tried telling him to like better himself, tried to get him to understand that. And by trying to better himself that he would apologize to Abby. But it was soon that I started saying that like I basically fake flirt and like just only pertain to flirt with Abby because we just were like joking around with each other. Like we didn't really take it serious. But like when I said that, he then accused me saying, "Oh, so you're in a relationship with Abby, huh?" And at that point, it confused me. I said I was pretending. I'm not literally dating her. And pretty much at that point, he starts arguing with me, saying that I basically ruined the relationship that he had with her. I'm like, what relationship did you have? The relationship you had with Abby was non-existent. If you're just gonna send me nudes of her to me, then how are you gonna be a good boyfriend if you're just gonna send me nudes of a girl that you said that you love? So constantly, I keep getting this kid keeps arguing with me how I ruined the relationship. And this keeps happening until like after I left the Buddhist temple, and that was when I went home. And it was during the day that I decided to like get a haircut. And this dude still argued with me when I finished my haircut. Like, I was at a CVS pharmacy, like getting my prescription for my mother. And then it was at this moment I want to talk to my friend, like a friend that I know, like just show him how ridiculous this guy was. So I sent him like screenshot of like what had happened with like the conversation that we had. Like he told me like this dude is messed up, and tell how much he keeps snapping me about how much I ruined the relationship. He told me that I should block him if like he got annoying. But for me, I wanted to keep it because it was amusing hearing a 17-year-old whining at me that I broke a relationship. But it made it sound so much like he was a 4-year-old not getting candy. And it was at some point like of him messaging me so much, I just thought like, you know what? I'm just gonna block him, just delete him. And it was when I blocked him, like, you know what? I kind of want to add him back just so I can still hear his reaction. And I thought like he deleted his Snapchat. So I thought at the end of the day that some dude like who was obsessed with a girl just sent news to me. And me calling him out, he acted like a baby that I ruined his relationship. I tried to make things better with him between him and her, but he never even listens at all. So basically, the story ends that he keeps arguing with me, saying that I ruined the relationship, and that's how much he's been such a nuisance to me. It just makes it difficult for me just to tell the story because of how long it was. But like after this, so like I get a message from some random dude, and he's saying how horrible this guy was, and he also talks about how hot Abby was. I'm like, no, it's gonna be a part 2 of this again. So like it was around like this month, like I'll say in January. So I brought this up again with Abby, but I want to hear more about it from her. Like she told me that she blocked him and he has sent it to his sister, which was weird, and I thought it was messed up. And I kind of wondered like, did he send the same thing he said to me to her? Cause that would have been messed up. But like at that point, I thought he deleted his account, and luckily I remember I have screenshotted his username, his account. But like once I got on there to see if he's still there, he's still there to this day. But I'll feel I'm gonna leak his snap if something like this were to come back up again. But I'll say this was one of the most strangest and most messed up moments I have to experience. Like I told Abby that if I can make this as a video one day, which is now, and this story has been building up for me because I've been wanting to tell the story, and she pretty much gave me the green light to do so, just as long as I don't put her real name. And as I said, Abby isn't her real name, so I guess this does mark the end, and I hope this will be the last time I ever hear from the mighty Metapod with his level 100, and the only move he have is Harden. Because all the time that he messaged me about how much he's obsessed with her, I bet 100% that he's been using Harden on himself. Because I swear this dude, every time he talks to her, he straight up gets a boner from him. Gets a boner just talking about her. But yeah, I hope he finally stops doing this and he finally evolves from a Metapod to a Butterfree. And probably learn to move Harden. And that's about it. And while you enjoy this video, and subscribe and like if you want to still see more story times that I have been planning. And yeah, that's it. Peace. And oh yeah, so from talking about this story, I was stuttering a lot, so making this story time was so weird for me. And however much time I have on this video and whatever gameplay I put, mainly Dynasty Warriors, I'll probably let the gameplay go on without the sounds. And yeah, that's it. Peace.